Indigenous people, shine your light, we are equal. I remember the days when our prayers were illegal. I remember the days when being Indian was lethal. Yeah, we had a rough past, but get ready for the sequel. Get ready for the glorious comeback of our people. Oh yeah, rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart, can you feel it in your blood? I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up, wake up. All nations rise, rise up, cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, cause now's our time. All nations rise, rise up, cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, cause now's our time. With forgiveness as my bow and my prayers as my arrows, pull them back and let go. I watch them fly like sparrows, have hope. Yeah, I have hope. With compassion as my shield and faith down to my marrow, I will walk the pollen path even when it gets narrow. Yeah, yeah, I resurrect. Yes, you can bet that we seen the single mama raising children on the res. We seen domestic violence tear apart what we have left. We seen the alcohol take it all and leave us dead. We seen the children take their lives when they can't take the dread anymore. It's a war. Can't take the dread anymore. It's a war. No, we can't take the dread anymore. It's a war. No, we can't take the dread anymore. Yeah, it's a war, but we've seen it all before. And now we know we can change it, cause that's why we were born. We know we are the ones that we have been waiting for. We are the ones Grandma has been praying for. So rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart, can you feel it in your blood? I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up, wake up. Pueblo hermoso, levántense, es nuestro tiempo. No tienes que esconderte más. Ahora es nuestro tiempo.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. If you want to hear the rest of that, I'll drop the link for you. It goes on for a couple minutes, but Bonnie introduced me to that, and I really enjoy that song. It's very inspiring. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm excited for today's stream. I'm excited to learn a little more about the Anglo-Saxons, which is what we're studying today in our study. My name is Deanna, and I'm streaming out of Humboldt County, about Humboldt County, to Humboldt County, and anyone else who cares. And we are going through a course, and it's called The Making of America. And it's really a lot about the Constitution, our founders, what they were thinking, what they were going through, what they were studying, how much they knew. It's been amazing. So we are in session 5. And actually, yeah, we are in session 5. And if you don't have your kit already, you can get yours. You can get yours too. What's up, Sean and Nora? Good to see you guys. We're oftentimes, I got a couple channels going here, so sometimes I suggest we all go over to the Humboldt Hilltop Workshops, because sometimes I delete this off of the Access Humboldt Unincorporated, because I might go off the rails, and I might need to do that. So it happens. It's not my platform, but I'm always on standuphumboldt.news. Let me get where's my stuff. I know we hate Google. I know we do. Oh, good. There it is right there. Yay, me. Okay, so stanuphumble.news, go all the way to the right to the Constitution tab. At the very top is the study. These first two tabs will take you, pictures, and the study kit will take you to the National Center for Constitutional Studies. If you can't get your own kit, I'll upload the study that we're doing while I'm streaming so you can follow along. So we are on number 8. And let's see, what else? What else? The last study was great. We learned about the letter that was written that was about a separation between church and state. That is not a amendment or constitutional article or section or anything. It was written in a letter. Okay, that's what we learned last time. So today we're going to be looking at the Anglo-Saxon. So the first question, let's see, I'm at 6 minutes. Not too bad. You know what? Okay, yeah, I do have my phone. I was like, I don't know where my phone is. I do know where my phone is. Yay! Okay. You can shoot me a text and you can shoot me anything you want. I'm not looking at it until I'm done with the study, though. And I'm not going to be distracted by anything unless it has to do with the study. And I'm sure you understand that. But that's fine if you want to let me know that you did that. That doesn't bother me at all. But I'm hyper focused on this study, guys. So you come in here with other stuff and, it's why people do premieres and they just upload videos sometimes. Because we love our chat people, our subscribers, our supporters, but sometimes it can be very distracting for us who are trying to put a message out when somebody comes in and drops a bombshell of a news. And not saying that Sean did that. He didn't. He did the right thing to let me know so I don't miss it, but to come in with stuff that doesn't have anything to do with my study right now is really, really not going to help me. So please, if you want to truly support me, be with me right now while I'm going through this, because I'm not teaching this class. I'm learning right now with you guys. I've set this time aside and decided I'll turn on my camera so I can learn with you guys. I'm not teaching it. Maybe I'll teach it one day, but right now this is the first time my eyes have ever laid on this study too. So with that, we're probably 9 minutes in, 8 minutes in, tangentially related, hence in your text on colonies. Okay, but not yet. It's not related yet because I haven't even started yet. So, number 8, why were students of history, including the founders, so fascinated with the Anglo-Saxons in the 1700s? Excuse me. Okay, let me blow this up a little bit. And I'm actually going to read it from the book and not the screen. I don't like screen eyes. But it's on the screen for you. I actually underlined quite a bit, and I'm going to skim through the answer of it. We're not going to do all the reading of this. I've got some of this prepped, some of it not. But I do intend to read. What they're having us go through is like 54 through 61, and we're going to read the latter parts of it. But this part here, I can pretty much summarize the mystery of the Anglo-Saxons down here. There was a Sharon Turner who wrote a 3-volume classic in the days of the founders, and it is still considered a leading authority on these amazing people who came from around the Black Sea in the 1st century BC and spread all across Northern Europe. In fact, they were the best organized, best governed people in their day. They not only conquered or intermarried with the royal families of every northern European country, but they set out in their open boats to chase the Irish out of Iceland, discover Greenland, and even establish temporary settlements in what is now Canada, not Canada. But the most important thing to Jefferson, Franklin, John Adams, and others who studied their culture was their institutions of constitutional government, which were almost identical with those of ancient Israel. The Anglo-Saxons first brought their culture to Britain around AD 450, when two brothers, Hengist and Horsa, were invited by the King of Kent to bring their relatives to southern Britain and fight off the king's enemies. The Anglo-Saxons were not only successful in this military venture, but they liked Britain so well they decided to stay. Before long, they had virtually taken over the island of Britain and changed its name to England, Anglo land or England. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Jefferson studied the Anglo-Saxons in their own language. He already knew 5 languages. Oh no, one of them was the language of his ancestors, the Anglo-Saxons. He learned this language so he could study their laws in its original tongue. They not only had the major elements of people's law, but they were organized and governed by principles similar to those of Moses. He made copies of the Anglo-Saxon laws and sent them home to friends. And this is what he wrote. Are we not better for what we have hitherto abolished of the feudal system? Has not every restitution of the ancient Saxon laws had happy effects? Is it not better now that we return at once into that happy system of our ancestors, the wisest and most perfect ever yet devised by the wit of man, as it stood before the 8th century? Now this is really interesting. Many have thought the Yinglings, or Anglo-Saxons, included a branch of the ancient Israelites because they came from the territory of the Black Sea, where the 10 tribes disappeared, and because they preserved the same unique institutes of government as those which were given to the Israelites at Mount Sinai. But whether related or not, there is certainly irrefutable evidence of a cross-fertilization of laws and cultural values because of these two people. Here are some examples. 1, the Anglo-Saxons considered themselves a commonwealth of freemen. 2, they organized themselves into units identical to those of the Israelites. And we read about all those laws. I'm not going to read about all that, but the way they structured, how many families, who was over that. Here are the numbers right here. But I'll read 5 here. Their system of justice was based on payment of damages to the victim rather than calling it a crime against the whole people. When the law books of both England and colonial America were crammed with bad procedures, unjust practices, and cruel punishments, the statutes of the Anglo-Saxons came to the founders like a breath of fresh air. Here were ancient principles which could be employed to the advantage of the founders as they developed their new successful formula. To better appreciate the perspective, we will pause to examine the Anglo-Saxon precepts more closely. Okay, so now let me check out the second question, because we probably well answered what was fascinating about them. There was only 2 peoples before America that were self-governing. The Israelites with Moses and these Anglo-Saxon people who were not the original royal people of England, it sounds to me like. It sounds like they either conquered them or they intermarried with them, it said. And eventually they did conquer over them. So, interesting. 9. What were the government units in Anglo-Saxon culture? Give a possible reason why they were so similar to those of ancient Israel. Well, that would be because their structure. Obviously, we already answered that question. And possible reason, well, the 10 tribes disappeared in the Black Sea region, I suppose, is what it's saying here, which I did not know that. And that this is where this similar, same exact, really, political system probably not same exact, but structure, idea, self-governing, came from that region where the tribes disappeared and where they were self-governing too. So I would say that is the possible reason, right? 10. Summarize some of the Institute of Anglo-Saxon culture. Name the event that led to the eventual termination of their culture and identify that event. So here's where we are going to do a bit of reading. 56 right here. So summary of the Freeman. Actually, let's see. We're not doing the summary or the Freeman. I'm starting with the beginning of the class of bondsmen. So I believe that's where we're going to start getting our question answered here. Unless I'm wrong, and then I'll have to go back and stand corrected. During the latest states of Anglo-Saxon history, there had developed a substantial class of slaves, bondsmen, and others who were obligated to fulfill some degree of servility or compulsory employment. Nevertheless, the law protected them from abuse and provided certain regulations to promote their welfare and ultimate emancipation through good conduct. Property could not be taxed without the consent of the witin. All freemen were required to attach themselves to a tithing, which was a unit of administration originally consisting of 10 families. Each member of a tithing had to put up a bond for his general good behavior and conduct himself according to certain regulations. Anglo-Saxon law required each group to be responsible for its members. Reparation for the victim. Originally, a person found guilty of an offense was required to provide compensation only to the victim. However, the Confederation under a permanent king resulted in additional fines going to the sovereign to cover the expense of keeping the peace. A value was placed on each individual according to his place in the social structure. This was called his were, W-E-R-E. An additional value was placed on each individual to protect his peace and security. This was called a mund, M-U-N-D. Offenders were fined proportionate to the amount of injury inflicted on a person's life or limb, or his were, or his peace and privacy, his mund. A high premium was placed on the personal liberty of each free subject so long as he was not violating any law. Heavy penalties were imposed on those who unlawfully imprisoned or restrained a freeman. A person accused of a crime was permitted to defend himself by producing a certain number of his neighbors who were willing to swear that it was their complete conviction that he was innocent. This procedure was intended to impress on each person the necessity of maintaining a reputation of good character in his neighborhood so that in case of false accusation, his neighbors would come to his defense. Even today, the use of character witness is a significant part of our judicial system. The jury system. The Anglo-Saxons also employed trial by jury, but there is no record of the time when it was first inaugurated. It may have been instituted anciently or introduced by the Danish colonists who are known to have employed the jury system from remote antiquity. Property rights were held to be sacred and strict rules were employed concerning tenure and the transfer of titles. Every man was required to honor the rights of others, just as he expected to have his own rights honored. Judges were placed under obligation to carefully evaluate each offense and make the penalty commensurate with the seriousness of the crime. All persons of means were emphatically enjoined to aid the poor, ameliorate the distress of widows and orphans, and treat strangers with kindness and fairness. The witin, or parliament, was under obligation to make certain the laws of the land conformed with the revealed laws of God, and which did not were abolished and renounced as being unconstitutional and void. The witin was also under obligation to see that every man, whether rich or poor, was fully protected in his common rights and treated with equal solitude and care. Social justice and the general welfare. It was a fundamental precept that all laws must be for the general welfare of the people, collectively and individually. Frequently, the witin passed laws favorably to the emancipation of slaves, even though this was often done contrary to the wishes of those who held them in a state of involuntary servitude. A fundamental requirement of law was that all persons who had been offended should have the opportunity to petition for redress. In fact, there were heavy penalties enacted against shiremen or judges who refused or neglected to hear the petitions of the aggrieved. The victim of an offense was not to avenge his injury personally until after legal justice had been sought. The natural liberty of each individual was only to be restricted by those laws which were for the social good of whole people. To protect the life and liberty of all freemen, there was an established catalog of penalties for the loss of each limb or any other act of maiming or injuring to an individual. There were laws to prohibit a fighting and personal violence, as well as laws to punish robbery and rapine, which the powerful and warlike members of society sometimes imposed on weaker or unsuspecting victims. There were heavy penalties for trespass, whether against a person's house or his private lands. Every landowner was required to make hedges and fences to keep his cattle from injuring his neighbor. The observance of Sunday as a day of rest from all worldly labor was strictly enforced. The law provided there was a natural equality of man which must not be violated by those in power. To protect the various levels of nobility and civic responsibility among the people, the punishment for offenses increased with the rank the person offended. It was presupposed that the higher the rank, the greater the offense against the welfare of the people whom he served. Like the lesser of the doctrine of the lesser magistrates. Oh, how they used to deal with the people that were over us when they did us dirty. That's going to be a fun book to go through. Each dimension and class of people had a procedure for the protection of their rights through designated channels where redress could be sought. Each channel was kept distant from interference by the others. Not only was the property and life of the individual protected, but his character was as well. Any slanderous words were subject to punishment. Do you hear that, Board of Supervisors and City Council in Humboldt County and Human Rights Commission, who continue to slander and do false accusations against your very people who rule you? The rights of women received special protection under the law. Upon the death of a father, the mother received the custody and care of the children. Women were protected by law from violence and abuse or forced marriages. Parents were held responsible for any offense committed by their children against others. Any person convicted of perjury was thereafter disqualified as a witness. Every man was protected in his right to hunt in his own woods or fields. To the founders, these principles seemed far advanced in both spirit and context compared with those which prevailed in any country of their day, including England. As we indicated earlier, when Jefferson reflected on these ancient principles, he could not help asking the leader in the Virginia House of Delegates, "Is it not better now that we return at once into the happy system of our ancestors, the wisest and most perfect ever yet devised by the wit of men?" Jefferson called the government system practiced by the Anglo-Saxons and the Israelites the wisest and most perfect ever yet devised by the wit of man. Classical studies of the founders. Let me look back to our questions because I've just been reading here. Let's see. We were summarizing the institutes of the Anglo-Saxon culture. That summary was there and I kind of blew over that, but the event that led to the termination of culture and the date, I don't feel like we got to that yet. I don't think so. So let's read on here. I'm still looking for that answer. It was apparent from what we have seen thus far, collectively speaking, that the minds of the founders were like a huge vacuum cleaner, sucking up knowledge of every sort of available source. When it came to politics, the minds of the leading founders were as far-ranging and profound as any collection of advanced scholars in the field of political studies today. Their correspondence, speeches, and commentaries disclose a penetrating understanding of both ancient and modern writers. Often the founders read the classics in their original language. They were familiar with Plato's Republic and his laws, with Aristotle's essays on politics, with the political philosophy of the Greek historian Polybius, with the great Roman defender of the Republican principles, Cicero, with the legal commentaries of Sir Edward Coke. Yeah. This is all how much they knew. They knew their classics. They knew their history. From all these valuable sources, they sorted out what they considered to be the best and most enduring for the prosperity and peace of a free people under Republican system of self-government. And what are we doing? What are we studying? Kim Kardashian and, what's that one? American Idol and sports. You Christians who let them take away your Wednesday night Christian services and Sunday for sports. They knew what they were doing. I witnessed so much in our own culture go downhill as Christians have compromised over and over and over. The Sunday thing, I remember when so many places were closed on Sunday. Yeah, we're resting. It's God's day. We're going to bask in rest and we're going to enjoy it. It's like, wow. Wowie kazowie. I didn't get that answer. How did I not get that answer, you guys? What was the event? I guess I needed to read the darn... what was it called? The synopsis? The summary? Yeah, darn summary. I briefly skimmed it and I didn't see how come it ended. I didn't get the answers. Oh, it's the king thing. Okay. Of course it was in that summary. You guys know it was in that summary, right? Here, the second paragraph, it says here... Well, let me read the first one. Sharon Turner summarizes the substance of the Anglo-Saxon law as it existed up to the time of the Northern Conquest in 1066. As we have noted, Thomas Jefferson saw the laws of the Anglo-Saxons were beginning to erode after the 8th century. Nevertheless, a great many of the best features survived and were still in operation right up until the Norman Conquest. There's our answer. By that time, many years of war had compelled the Anglo-Saxons to confederate together under a king. He was still an elected monarch, however, rather than a hereditary king. Furthermore, he was closely controlled by the Witan, the Anglo-Saxon parliament. But, as with kings in all ages, the centralization of power was beginning to concentrate extensively authority by AD 1066. He was not only the chief executive of the nation, but played an essential role in the legislature. He received and expended all taxation and was even the censurer and source of authority for all jurisprudence. He was commander-in-chief of all the armies, and when the Witan was summoned, it was at his discretion. While it was in session, he presided over the proceedings. So that looks like the disintegration of their government, self-government rule was the king, right? The kingship. That's my answer. Okay, and also it was the Norman Conquest, which I would have to read into more. I really didn't see a lot about that. And some of the other philosophers, writers, and historians with whose works the founders became well acquainted in their quest for knowledge and answers. I was reading some of them till I got tongue-tied and tired of it. They knew a lot. They were well educated and disciplined people to learn. And in the end, they were all led astray by their own devices. Are these devices, are you using these to learn? Are we taking this technology? Satan is the prince of power of the air. This is his world. This is his domain. We are to come out from this world and look different, be transformed, not conformed. We have the Spirit of God within us. We are not to look just like this world. We are peculiar people. We have supernatural access. These people in power and in rule or under the prince and the power of this air only have flesh power. And that will never trump spiritual power. Spiritual power, supernatural spiritual power by the Creator will deal with these people. We don't have to fret. We do not have to worry. we are not supposed to sit here and internalize all of this and, you know, be taking it all on. And this battle is spiritual. And there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. I have not dropped the link for a while. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this study, Sean, if you want to explain. Oh, well, hello, Devil Dog. Devil Dog, you've been scarce. You've been scarce. I've been missing you. Jury 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Oh, yeah. Hillsdale has a good course on the Fed. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Just talking up Hillsdale now. You funny, man. Good. I'm glad they're listening to you. I'm glad they're listening to you. And that investment that you made. It's good to see you here. Oh, wow, you've been here. Oh, 1100 Charter of Liberties, is that right? Okay. I didn't scare you off, Sean, did I? I know you're tough. You can handle me, can't you? You still here, buddy? Dee, man, she can be like, Ree. Don't mess with me, Ree. I will be back today. I want to do a stream I've had ready for a week. I've had these notes for a week, you guys. I got a good stream coming. I want to talk about the lawlessness in Humboldt County here. I want to talk about the drag show that I found myself in attendance to Saturday. Another assault. More derpy people telling me their credentials. Gosh, these people, you guys. Head on a pillow. Okay, babe. Love ya. Appreciate you and all you men are doing for our country. Really, really appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you all here. Indy Scrimshaw, you snuck in. NC Debs, good to see you. Good to see you guys. I have, Phil, where have you been? I have a lot of things coming. I have a lot of changes. Well, not a lot of changes. I don't have anything changing. I'm going to get more structured. That's all. I'm going to get more structured. So this stream, I'll be coming on pretty soon. I'm pretty ready to go on pretty soon again, maybe 2 o'clock. I think I'll come on in 50 minutes. And if you guys are around and you want to hear some more stuff, I actually got to go through the last Board of Supervisor meeting and find out when they, James told me they did a hate speech resolution, so I got to find that. I'd like to go to Arcadas and skim through their standing ups recently. I sure wish I could get Humboldt talking, but I'll be back to tell you about my new call-in show that I'll be starting in prime time, and our wellness show, and let's see, what else? Humboldt history show. I've got a couple books for Humboldt I really want to go through even more. I've got this one here, Making a Living and Making a Life in Humboldt County. There are so many great stories and pictures in here, Humboldt County. And then I've also got these books. I got these, I can't even remember where I got these, but in the 70s, there was an HSU professor that asked, had people do writings. They had people write in the way it was, and that was just their title. That it was very broad, very general. Okay, so, but it's like, there's so many cool titles here. I cannot wait to start getting into this book with you guys. Drama in everyday life, school days, work, wartime, hard times, summertime, country life, personalities, transportation. When you look back in Humboldt County at how we were getting around with the rails and our ships and what's going on now, it's just really sad how dependent we've become on this government. And Incorporated, Humboldt County Incorporated has really drowned out Humboldt County Unincorporated. And it's my desire and goal and dream to make us bigger. Make Humboldt County unincorporated. U.S. government out of Humboldt County. That dream is still alive. Very much so. Hey, John, good to see you, honey. Echo, Bonnie, love. Sleep well, Sean. Sleep well. May you sleep in heavenly peace. So, yeah, I guess that's it for today. 35 minutes, not too bad. A little bit of ramblings, a little bit of musings. I told you guys last Friday, if you want to see me go off the rails, come see my other streams, because it looks like I'm getting a lot of people following the Constitution study on Rumble. Thank you for tuning into it. I hope that I am, just living up to my low expectations I asked you to please have for me. So, I will be back today, you guys. It's super rainy and cold and yucky, and I have a lot in my brain and on my mind and notes and links, and it's got to come out. So I'll see you in like 50 minutes. I love y'all so much. Thank you for can you come up when you end? Yeah, come on up, come on in. Anybody, if any of my friends want to come in after stream, the link's there. Come on in. Yeah, I want you to come up. You want to come up? What do you got to say? I dropped the link for you. I was saying goodbye. You want to come up? Oh, on my later stream? Or this one? You're confusing me. I'll hang out for a second. I'll always hang out for you, Devil Dog, or Sean, or John, any of my friends. You guys know you're my people. I love ya. I'm freezing, though. I need to get a sweater. Need me a sweater. Don't look in my dirty closet. Don't look. Don't you look in my dirty closet. There we go. Got the sweater. Oh, don't fall down. I didn't hang my stuff. All right. I don't know if you're coming up on this one or if you're coming up on the next one. Which one? Oh, you're welcome, Scrimshaw. Of course. Thank you for being here. I would not have a show if you weren't here. I'd be talking to myself, and I might have just kept doing that. I don't know. I did it for a while. There was nobody there. I'm going to get Humboldt talking, you guys. I got a phone number, and it's going to be Humboldt. Let's chat. And now, come on up. Yeah, I dropped a link for you. Come on up. You're always welcome to come up. You're gonna keep me on my toes now, huh? Right when I was ready to get off, too. I was like, phew, show's done. Let's go. Bye. But no. We want to come say hi today. We want to come say hi. Hi. How are you?
What up, crazy California lady?
It's been a minute.
Do I hear an echo?
Probably. You know I'm no good at this. Oh, look at Bob. Bonnie wants to come play. Bonnie wants to come play too. Hi, Bonnie. How are you, honey?
Hi.
Echoing?
Uh-oh.
There you are.
My phone's off.
Man, I was this close to end broadcast, you guys. I was like, oh, I'm getting off here, Devil Dog. I'm ready. I want to drink that Diet Pepsi in front of you and eat a Pop-Tart too.
Nope, I don't eat that shit no more. I make my own Pop-Tarts.
That's so great, Devil Dog. We're so proud of you. And when you get off the Diet Pepsi and start drinking powdered mushrooms, you'll be doing real good.
No, I'm good.
So what's up? You got something to add now that I'm not even in the Constitution yet, am I? I'm on session 5. I'm number 25. But I am loving this study. Can you tell? I'm loving it. It's so easy. It's like, oh, this is like one of the easiest Bible studies I've read. What? Blah, 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 blah. And then you go, oh, blah, 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 blah. And there's the answer right there. A lot of times, which I do appreciate. But it's also very meaty. And there's a lot of words there that are challenging. And that stimulates my mind. I look them up. And it's all just very good. Thank you for, pushing that and pushing that. study. It's so fun.
Yeah, it'll get a lot more fun when you actually hit the Constitution.
Well, you're the one that told me to keep it down to like 20, 30 minutes, and you knew that those sessions, if I tried to rip through those whole things, it would be 2 hours long, wouldn't it?
It okay,
Maybe longer or shorter.
longer.
Yeah, I know because it's a lot of reading, and but it's great. It's really great. So Hillsdale, last time I talked to you, I remember you mentioned you had sent them a little set or two or three, and kind of mentioned about, hey, this and that, and so you want to tell me what's going on with that, because I thought that was really cool, and that's the greatest way to. That's a great ministry, you guys. You give what you want someone to look into, no matter what it is. You give it as a gift, right? That's a so you sent them this gift, and you're like, hey, you guys, you need to. What did you say to them exactly? I can't remember how you put it.
I actually hand delivered, and
Oh,
I said I'd like to give this to you, and for our contract, all you need to do is promise to go through it.
you gave them several sets, and then they got some teachers that are now teaching them.
I don't know.
They're reading them probably, though. They're probably reading them themselves.
Yeah, I figure if someone does a full in depth uh, learning on that plus outside sources to back up what they learn,
Yeah.
that set should take a normal person about a year to go through.
Well, hey, we've already seen 3 years pass in this YouTube world, so I'm I'm ready. I think we'll all be better for it that are hanging out in here. I can see it. What's interesting too is it also tells me who's really serious about remedy in our country. I notice who doesn't ever come to my room or who doesn't ever come and sit in the study. Some of them pretend like they're my friends and they want to save our country. They don't. They really don't. I mean, you'd be here doing this if you did. You'd be engaging, and this is the most important thing we could be doing is learning, not just what I'm studying, but anything to do with what you're sitting. When I was learning the Bible and stuff, and getting out of new agey stuff, that was always so self-help focused. Got to focus on ourselves all the time, all the time. And when I was going through the Bible, if I had an issue with anger or whatever, patience, you start studying that, so that's because that's where I'm at. This is how I see this. Like, we've got a lot of problems in America. It's like we gotta dig into this stuff here. We gotta dig into this. These people are out of control in Humboldt County. They're out of control with the everything they're doing is unlawful. Everything. And the people are getting angrier and angrier. Every meeting I watch, there's more coming out. You notice people that stream about their, is there a lot of streamers that will stream um, their city council and their meetings and stuff? I mean, that's what people do, right? This is what I think we need to be doing in our communities.
Like an example, Smoke and Scan. I started watching him having to do with all the mostly peaceful protests we had in 2020.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
he's streaming the LA City Council meetings now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when they do the call-in thing, there's people that go, yeah, Smoke and Scan on YouTube is number one. They just call in to say that. It's a riot.
That's great. Yeah, because I'm ready to go in and be like, yeah, Access Humboldt
American
Unincorporated.
scan.
Everything you guys aren't. Opposite. Everything opposite. You have any questions, Bonnie, for D Dog while we got him here? I've been just talking.
We're backstage, maybe.
We're live.
Oh, Hello.
Hi, Bonnie.
Check out the link on your community.
Smoke and Scan is a channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've watched those LA City Council meetings because he restreams them live.
I want to check that out.
Yeah,
Because Southern California, I think, is having the same issues we are in Texas, possibly. But I just saw a video from El Paso, and it's just sickening.
getting taken over by what? Migrants?
Yep.
Just pouring through?
Huh?
Just pouring
Well,
through? Or
Well,
the thing of
they're lining.
migrants and poison politics.
Yep.
well, this is a question I ask you every once in a while, D Dog. What do you think people need to be working on? Is it still the status? Know their status?
Well, knowing your status is understanding your rights.
Uh-huh.
But getting your sheriff to learn what his job is, because the job that they put in front of him is not his job.
Right. Yeah. And Sean says that whole thing where the board of supervisors can fire the sheriff now also needs to be stopped. That they're trying to pass in California.
Well,
Or
yeah, but well, California is screwed up because what 41 of your sheriffs are also the coroners.
and don't forget, ours is
That has to
also
be fixed.
administrative records as well, so he gets to do all the paperwork for both positions too. Isn't that
Right.
special? Man, I'm telling you. I got people tell me, oh no, he's a good Christian guy though. Our sheriff is a good Christian man. Oh, yeah? Well, then why are children being exposed to lewd acts and sexuality? And we have people in charge in the city council and the board of supervisors. You're all mandated reporters. Do your damn jobs. Sick of this. This is ridiculous. It should have never got this far. It's too far, and Humboldt County is still. Oh, when's the next American Idol? When's the next football game? When's the next whatever I can be distracted by and not have to pay attention to my community's issues? You're good. Humboldt County is going to look like a shithole in 1 year from now when these planning people get to do everything they want to put a homeless shelter on our bay. They're taking away all the parking lots in Old Town so we can shuttle in, you guys, because you got some 20-year-old derpy kid who gets all this grant money so we could get rid of our cars because these people are greenie worshipers. There's 12 issues like that. They're all magnanimous. They're gigantic issues. And how do you how do you convict your community to be engaged without sounding like a bitch? You know,
That's the.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't even care. Can't do it. Too bad. Tough shit, people. At this point, I'm getting kicked around all the time, going out, trying to expose these people, and nobody else is there. Couple of us ragamuffins, same 12 people. Thank God Jesus only had 12 people. And then he told me 5 of you will take down 100. Don't you worry your pretty little heart. I got you. I know you do, but I still have to go out and do that stuff I didn't think I was doing anymore. I didn't know I was going to end up there. I told you guys I wasn't going to any more of those shows.
Yes, you did.
And did D-Dog believe me? No. I bet he didn't. He was like, sure, not gonna. You go do your little craziness around our kids. You never know who's going to show up. You got to stop this. These people got to stop. We need some lawful, real men to come in here and deal with our sheriff. It's going to have to be people that have more authority over him is my fear. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us. We're just their fodder, We're just their nothing.
I have noticed they listen to men more than women. which I guess has been all throughout history.
I don't even care about that. You know, that's what one of the members here was trying to do, propping up our founding fathers of Humble and getting them to sit down and talk with our sheriff. No, it's about, oh, you know, they're upset because nobody is there protesting this stuff. What's that going to do?
That's what they're saying at the border. Why aren't y'all protesting this? Protest? Really?
That's your paid opposition for you. And let me tell you something. You got a lot of paid opposition in YouTube, people. You have a lot of uh, what are they called? Con artists. And it's a cesspool. These people are, you got liars. They'll stab you in the back while they're smiling at you. You cannot trust these people on YouTube. There's so many liars here. I don't know how you trust anybody. D-Dog, what do you think about the John Birch Society?
I don't know. I don't follow too many groups.
All right. Well, there was this guy that called. I talked to him last week. I think his name is Calvin Clark, and he works for the John Birch Society. Okay, and my friend Genevieve, you know, my Hawaiian friend, Chinese friend, um, she gave me his number. So we talked for like 2 hours, and he told me what they do is they bring disclose. He's been hired to deal with, I think he said, 33 counties in California. And what he's doing is going to each county to give the gavel back to the people. And he said he does it by disclosure. And he says they look for the weakest link in the board of supervisors to get them to put something on the agenda. And then when they don't put it on the agenda, they're in trouble. And when they do put it on the agenda, they're in trouble. And it's disclosure. And that's what he's working on. And I've had people say to me, John Birch sold out because they're about money, lawyers, money, the bar, this and that, right? Well, maybe so. But if they can still help the people get the gavel back, I don't really care. And another thing that they have that is very interesting and intriguing to me is a movement, if you will, of trying to get 500 people in each county to commit to a eternal vigilance covenant. And that sounds great. Like we don't even need them for either one of those. You know, he told me about the disclosure thing. It's like, oh, well, me and my people ought to be able to do that. Certainly not paying anybody to do anything for me. And sure the hell ain't paying no lawyer. You know, that's not what I've been studying for 3 years for. So I can go call a lawyer and have them do my work for me and stay in that same corporated system. It's a lie. It's a joke. So that eternal covenant sounds good, along with what I learned in public education, they all agreed on those 5 principles about the afterlife and those certain things. I mean, if we start to just compile those things, it would seem to me like everyday Americans could get on board with something if they could see what it is. Where's the page? Because there's so many denominations and all that crap gets, all the little things get put, oh, well, you're not pro-life or you're not, I mean, that one's a big one. But like, the issues of dividing issues. I don't know. I'm just trying to find the same page to throw people onto. Even though I'm doing this study, it's still not like the laid out plan is not there yet. I don't have my cookie cutter template. Okay. And I don't know what I'm doing still, but I'm learning, right? I'm learning and I'm going to wherever I have to go. D-Dog, you're really quiet for getting up here. You're really making me have to do all the talking. It's kind of awkward. How is this you come up here to talk to me and I'm talking to you? How is this?
Well,
Could you
it's
lay down?
it's normal. You went all the way into chatterbox mode, so I let you go.
No, I because you're too quiet. I mean, I need to. Is this for the back room? Should I end the live and I'm gonna have to edit this all out for my study, which I don't even edit. I don't even edit, so it's cool. Maybe your people that you keep telling about me in this study will see you here. So yay! Hi everybody. Thank you for listening to D Dog to come over and follow my study because I know I wouldn't have that many people on Rumble if it weren't for him telling me to go watch my study. So
Yeah, but the thing that I said about the Anglo Saxons getting their first king that was under the power of the people in 1014. The king's name was Ethelred. He was also known as Ethelred the Unready. He was king before that, and they fired him. And then they couldn't organize for war, and they couldn't do trades with other countries because all it was small communities. So they brought him back to organize trade, or organize peace and war and everything else. And that was his limitations. He didn't have any control of what they did in the cities.
That's awesome. That sounds like what we're gonna have to do. King
but
what?
Ethereal Red, Ethelred the
Yep.
Unready, Ethelred the Unready. But it said that it sounded. There was that Compton thing too. What was that thing? The
Well,
Compton.
the Anglo-Saxon stuff the book gets into is in the 16 and 1700s. I'm just taking you a little bit before that.
The Norman conquest. It really didn't talk about that, really. Is that what you're talking about? That has to do with this king?
Um,
Or no?
no, it's before that.
Right, because that was when they disintegrated, and you're saying they did have a king, but he had a lot of limits.
Well, that they had a king that was actually, the prior kings were, tyrants. And Ethelred the Unready, he was called Ethelred the Unready because he was like 14 when he became king.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And they ended up firing him, and then they rehired him, but they put limitations on his authority.
And what country was that?
Well, Anglo-Saxon, so that'd be what, basically England, Great Britain.
well, you know what I found really fascinating about this study? I had no idea. When it said that the 10 tribes disappeared around the Black Sea, and I'm like going, wait a minute, what do you mean they disappeared? That's the last we really have of their genealogy and stuff. Is that what it means? I know. I'm like, so they disappeared because you have all this genealogy in Matthew going way back, right? And so
Right.
they get freed out of Israel, and then Moses, and you've got Moses wrote Genesis and Exodus, I believe, or not Genesis. He wrote Exodus and some other books. Didn't he write a couple books? Anyway, and then they're just gone. I didn't ever know that. I don't even know hardly where the Black Sea is. I mean, I'm geographically a dum dum, and I don't like admitting that because we all need to just accept that we all don't know everything. Okay, that there's some things I don't know well, and geography is one of them. I haven't studied a map a lot. I haven't even really looked at a global map a whole heck of a lot, to be honest, because that's all about almost the same as studying it sometimes, just looking at one. When my kids were homeschooled, we had geography songs and planet songs: Sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, Neptune, and Saturn, Uranus. We had all the singing songs. And geography, we had some singing songs about the oceans. There was ocean songs and continent songs and stuff like that. It's why homeschooling's fun because you really do get to, learn a lot more. But um,
So, D, why did you start laughing when you said Uranus?
You started laughing when I said Uranus. Bring that boy humor over here, boy. Don't you come over here with that locker room talk. Hey, how's your garden going? I'll bet you're all in it, aren't you? I'll bet you're all in it. Got stuff going already?
Yeah, in the main garden I use for feeding the house, all that's in. Um, the plants that it's a little too early for, they got little private greenhouses over them.
Nice. Yeah, because
And
it's cold. Right?
now I'm working on the big garden, which gonna most of the food that comes out of that's gonna be going to the what do you call it, Grainers, which is like a food pantry for everybody.
Nice. Yeah, you got the victory garden down, dude. I mean, I didn't even really remembered what a victory garden was until COVID, and then like on Pinterest there was a lot of victory garden articles and stuff, and it was like during the war, everybody was like, "Yeah, this is what you need." It's literally a plan, I think. Did you start off with that, like a yeah, victory garden, doing that? And then you've got your own now though, but I mean, that was a good start for you to, because it's hard to know, well, how much food do I need for my family? And the whole package of seeds, I mean, I've done that one time, tomatoes. It's like, we got to spread these out a little bit. I didn't know how to grow anything. I was a Southside Chicago girl. I'm like, okay, so we just pour these seeds in here. And, I mean, it's really, people don't know how to grow food still. I could grow some food, but if I plant stuff too late, I've had it where my melons and stuff didn't go. They need more time. So you're on the early stuff, right? What do you plant right now? Well, it's May.
Yeah. Well, our last frost day is like May 10th.
Mm-hmm.
But even when there's snow on the ground, you can plant your lettuce, radishes, carrots,
Not in
uh,
seed, right? But
beets.
but in not in seed, but in starts.
No, in seed.
Right in the dirt where it's snowy, where it's
Yep,
frosty. Hi, Annie. Good to see you, honey. Wow.
yep, and spinach. And then April, when we still have a good chance of frost, you can expand that into onions. Onions, chives,
Yeah.
bunching onions. Um, and
Garlic.
you can start. Well, the only brassica you can actually start is cauliflower.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my backyard, I lost my I had a grape arbor with two boxes. The grapes are great. Last year I had the most grapes. I must have had 30 to 50 clusters of grapes on that thing. And this year with all the snow and everything, I mean, I knew it too. I was looking out there at it like I should cut those heavy. I haven't pruned our fruit trees. I haven't pruned our grapes. I mean, we're both feeling like really bad gardeners right now. But I also look around my property. There's so much I could forage. I don't even worry about it. I'm like, there is literally so much food up here. That's what I was trying to do a shift of. I still should grow. I always grow peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers in the sunroom. And I was trying I was trying to spread out and advance more in the backyard, but blueberries, I don't know. It's hard. Gardening is like a lot of work.
Well, okay, with your tomatoes,
Yeah.
intercrop uh, like one basil for every two plants, and you can grow carrots or onions in between the plants. Um, let's see. Uh, and if you do a brassica, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, um, onion, beets,
Yeah, beets come up.
cucumbers, beans, they all intercrop good with that. And your different peppers. Um, let's see. Well, pepper, you can do bean, peas, cucumber. Um, you can even put peppers near your tomatoes. Uh, and as far as beans go, you want to separate beans and onions because those two actually retard their growth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But everything else you can pretty much plant together because I intercrop everything.
Companion planting. Yeah, I was learning about that as well, and it
No,
is.
the companion planting thing is a big myth.
Oh
Because people say, hey, if you plant basil near your tomatoes will have a basil flavor. I go, no, they won't.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean companion, like you're saying, like they do well together. They complement each other.
But
That
intercropping,
yeah, intercropping. Okay.
yeah, companion planting is like your bean with a corn. That's a companion plant because it's real hard to make sure you have enough nitrogen for your corn. But if you companion plant with a bean, then that'll give its nitrogen that it needs because the bean plants take nitrogen from the air and absorb and pushes it down into the ground.
Oh, cool.
So if you have a bean, you want a climbing bean, a
Mhm.
pole bean, or whatever to actually work its way up the corn stalk.
Wow. To give it nitrogen. That's
It'll
so
give it a lot of nitrogen, and then you put like some sort of like a watermelon, um, a regular cantaloupe, uh, pumpkin, gourds, whatever around the base, because those big leaves will shade the ground to keep it cooler and
yeah.
keep the moisture in, and it'll keep the weeds down. That's just three sister planting is great for showing what companion planting is. But
Three
your standard garden, you can't really companion plant, but you can intercrop almost everything.
See, we need a D-Dog gardening
yeah.
class also.
Yeah, that's gonna be one of my shows will be I think we could just incorporate that into like the wellness show too. Like talk
Mm-hmm.
about healthy things. Because that's what I want to do is set up a couple different streams. I got Tuesdays and Thursdays free, you know, because first couple weeks, the last couple weeks, it's been nice to just do this class, and I had that whole show ready for a whole week, and I was like, okay, when are we doing it, God? And God's like, your mouth is shut, girl, and I'm like. But God, I've got this whole show. You gave it to me on Sunday. When am I doing the show, God? And he's like, and then I went to the drag show, and now I know why because I was. And then we did it. Well, we did our prayer stream before that too. So I knew something was going to happen. I knew God was doing something,
Yes.
and
And
yeah,
that was great. Thank you very much for helping me with that.
no,
You
that
can
was
hear my voice. It's like gone.
what? Carl's raising an elite group of subterranean tunnel borers, aka moles, just in case I need to liberate anyone from female camps. Oh, Carl, I love you. Well, I think I'm going to have these two in the back room all to myself, people, because they're
No,
getting
but
quiet on me.
I,
You got
I
something
got
else
to
to
take off.
No,
what? And now he's leaving me.
no, no.
What? Wait, what? Come back
Oh,
later.
okay. Um. Okay. Uh. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Fine. We're ending this though.
We are hijacking you, D-Dog.
We're out of here. We're gonna be in the back room talking. If John, if you're still there, if you want to come say hi to me, and Bonnie, you are welcome to do that. But and anybody is also welcome. You know, you're my friends, and I love y'all. Anyone using high tunnel greenhouse? I have two. I have two greenhouses. They're called tunnel hoop houses. Yeah, they are 20 feet long, 7 feet tall, and 7 feet wide. And I got them at resale lumber years ago for like $300. I probably could put the plastic back on now, but I have to take it off in the winter because it actually blew away. So,
Oh
um,
no.
yeah, time to garden, you guys. I'd like to do a wellness stream, and I'd like to do, a Humboldt. Let's talk Humboldt, and then what's the other one I was going to do? Oh, Humboldt history. So I got like 4 or 5 shows rattling around in my head, you guys. And then of course there's Louie with Silver. He's going to be back, and then there's Mike with the Private Membership Association. So there is a lot of things that I want to share about. So anyway, please rest easy, Scrimshaw. Annie, take care, babe. You're welcome, everybody. I'll see you later. Peace out, people.
Have a good day.